Hey, this is Christian McMillan with Drone Mission, and today we're talking about color balancing, adjustment layers, LUTs, color correcting drones and DSLRs, and finishing up with some color grading. So let's get started. So I've selected some clips from a recent Drone Mission project, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna color grade them, and I'm gonna walk you through my entire process. And we're gonna talk about adjustment layers, LUTs, color balancing, color effects, some masking, eyedrop tools, and everything that you'll find inside of Final Cut 10. So let's get started. So first thing, I want you to see the video. Awesome, so that's what we're gonna color grade today. So right off the bat, I can see that this probably needs some saturation. This is very gray. This is very red and gray. This is very dull, dull gray, and dull gray again. All right, so to get started, let's go ahead and turn on our video scopes. I love my Vetroscope, my Luma, so Vetroscope, and my Luma scope. Vetroscope, that just tells me where 0 is, and that little line is the skin tone line. And the Luma, you kind of want to keep everything between 0 and 100. As a general rule, but you can break it every now and then. And we'll probably end up breaking it today. So first step, color balancing. Let's get all these clips looking good. So this was a DJI 4 Pro. This was a XT3 in slow-mo. DJI 4 drone, XT3 Fuji slow-mo, XT3 Fuji slow-mo. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna apply the LUT to all of the Fuji shots. The XT3 has this awesome cinema mode called F-Log, which just makes gives you more detail in the brights and in the lows. And then from Fuji's official website, you can download their Fujifilm LUT. And that's the LUT that we're gonna be applying, and you can download that LUT below in the description. So we're gonna go to Effects, we're gonna type in LUT, Custom LUT, and then inside of Custom LUT, here is where we have the F-Log LUT from Fujifilm. Now you could choose your own or reveal it in the Finder, download it. You put it in here in the custom LUTs, and then it should appear right here. Already we can see a drastic change. Look at that. So what we're gonna do is we're going to do that to all of XT3 shots. All right, perfect. Already looking better. All right. Now that we got our LUTs, let's start with the first clip. All right, so this is a drone. So we're gonna add the color bar, color board, and we're gonna go into it. So the thing that I've noticed about drones is you usually need to add some saturation. So we're gonna add some saturation here, and in the exposure, I'm gonna drop the lows, bring up the mids a little bit, drop the lows. It's right in the middle, pretty well exposed shot.
Did you know there are techniques?
Looks pretty good. All right, that's pretty balanced to me. All right, now comparing, I feel like we're gonna need a lot more. Kind of balance it out, touch, drop it. All right.
Did you know there are techniques that...
Great. All right, now, this right here is looking a little orange. So here's orange, and we're gonna go counter orange. Blew it out just a little bit, and I grabbed the midtones. Perfect. Alrighty, all right, that's looking good. All right, this looks crazy red. So let's just grab the master, and here's red. kind of identify where it's going red. We're gonna go opposite of that red. I'm gonna drop it down. You can look over on the vector scope. You can see that we're really just centering it. And already, it looks a little better. All right. Let's see, comparing these two. This one, I'm gonna grab the mid to the highlights. Didn't like that. A little more yellow. Clips overall just a little bright. I'm gonna drop it down just a little bit. Master. Great. And now I'm going to go to the color wheels, and I'm just going to drop the temperature. So blue, warm, and we're just going to go a little warm. Great. All right, we're not there yet, but we're having fun. All right, that's kind of in the ballpark.
To help us age gracefully.
I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of all this audio. Perfect. All right. All right, so you color balance this one. All right. Back to the drone shot. Go to our color board. We're gonna add saturation. We're gonna add a bunch of exposure. Now there's not anything really bright in this image that we see, maybe here. So we're really just going to, we're not gonna touch 100. But let's get some of this detail here in the 75 range of the lumic. All right, good. And we're gonna get some of our blacks back. Good. Looking better. I'm gonna go into color wheels. Just add a little bit of warmness. Not a lot though. Great. All right. I just see a little bit of red in the other clip, so let's just add some red in the shadows, which is pretty much exactly the same as adding red here in the shadows. All right. Now this one, this is the same as this one over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to Command C, and then I'm going to paste attributes. My custom LUT I do not need, because it already has it in the color board. All right, we already got something. Just gonna up the exposure, get it a little brighter, get some nice rich blacks back. Let's make this a little warmer. Color wheels. Good. All right, already looking much better. And this last shot, let's just drop it down, get a little more punch. Some more detail in that 50 to 75 range. All right, so let's take a look at these originally. Effects off, on, off, on. All right, awesome. So now I'd say the clips are relatively color balanced. Now we're gonna go in with our masks and play around with skin tones and masking. So one of the first things that I thought of when I saw this one is we're gonna add another color board. We're gonna go into the effects. It's really hard not to use the short keys, but I know you can't see them. And we're gonna add a shape mask. So we're gonna add that over her, feather it. What we can do is we can drop the inside or the outside. So let's go ahead and drop the outside, just a smidgen. Cool. Let's add another color board. And what we can do here is we can add a color mask. So with the color mask, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on her forehead and select her skin. And I'm gonna click Shift, grab a little more of her forehead, a little more of her forehead, grab some of this dark stuff. As you can see, we've selected some other stuff and that's okay. I like adding up the softness. And now what we're doing is we're just affecting her skin tone. So if we click outside, you can see we can really drastically change the color without drastically changing the skin tone. So let's go ahead and just add, take the shadows, bring them into like a teal, and we can take the midtones and do kind of like a counter teal. We'll see what that looks like. Off. A little more extreme. Sure, that way we just have a little bit of that orange and blue feel. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn those effects off and turn them on. Now we're concentrating a little bit more on her. All right, we could almost do the same thing for this shot. So we're gonna add a new color board and we're gonna add a shape mask. By the way, I haven't really planned any of this out. I'm just kind of feeling this out as we go. All right, I'm gonna take the outside and we're just gonna drop it down a little bit. Great. And perfect. Great. Now we're gonna add another color board and we're gonna add a skin tone mask. Perfect. We're gonna go outside. We're gonna make the outside nice and teal and blue. I'm gonna go counter blue, counter teal. Drop the exposure a little bit. Just dropping the blacks a little bit. Just a little. Touching zero. Oh, that's a little too much. All right. Great. All right. This one here, what we could do is we could focus the eyes and the attention on her. That would be great. So let's add another color board. Open up color correction. Add a shape mask. Let's just add it on her. This is the beginning, the end, awesome. We're just gonna make that nice and feathery. This is the inside. So what we're gonna be adjusting is the outside. Just gonna, just a little bit like as if she's walking into darkness. Perfect. Cool. All right, this one. Let's go ahead and add another color board. Let's go ahead and just add a shape mask. To attract the attention to him. So we're gonna make it dark on the outside. Great. I say on the inside, we just warm them up a little bit. Give them a little bit of a tan. So blue to counter that a little bit. Great. See how that looks. Great. And honestly, this shot just looks great. There's not much to do to it. So now that we have our video pretty much from beginning to end, and it's already looking so much better than it was originally, now we're going to color grade. So we could color grade each clip individually, or we could add an adjustment layer. And what we're gonna do today is add an adjustment layer. So we're going to get rid of our video scopes. We're gonna ask for our browser back. All right, so now we're gonna add a grade over the entire clip, and we're gonna add some different looks and just see what can really pull everything together. So we could add that individually to each clip, or what we could do is we could right-click and create a new compound clip, and then we can color correct on the entire thing, or we can use what's called an adjustment layer. I personally love adjustment layers. So I'm gonna teach you how to install an adjustment layer on your Final Cut 10. So the first thing you're gonna have to do is download the adjustment layer file. It's a motion file that I've attached in the description. And once you have that downloaded, what it's gonna look like is this. So once you have this downloaded, you're gonna go into your computer, into your movies, into motion templates, into titles, and we're gonna right click and create a new folder called custom. We're gonna go into that folder, we're gonna bring in our adjustment layer, and I'll just show you, we don't have anything that says custom over here. But now I'm gonna drop this into our custom folder. It's there. Gonna go back into Final Cut, and boom, it just loaded. Custom, there's our adjustment layer. So we're gonna click that adjustment layer, bring it down. We're gonna stretch it over our entire video. So what this does is we can add color correction to this adjustment layer. Just do some crazy green, and that will be added to everything below. So let's close this window, browser, sweet. And let's get rid of that green. So there's a couple of things that we can do that are just gonna make this look really great. So let's add a color board. So let's just add kind of the typical shadows go into teal, midtones counter that teal, and sometimes you can actually counter, right, the numbers so they're pretty much identical. And let's just go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so this video is already looking pretty good. So let's do pretty much the last step, which is just kind of the final touches. So let's hit view, and let's show in viewer, and let's get our video scopes back, which is just Command 7, by the way. And we are going to add just a little bit of sharpening, brings everything together. I like that 2.5, 3, just a little bit of sharpening helps. That's already looking much better. Another thing is we're gonna add another color board, and this is one of my favorite things to do at the very end of my color correction process. And that's I go into these hue saturation curves and Luma versus Sat. So I'm gonna put a dot here, a dot here. I'm gonna bring down the ends. So what this does is the saturation at the very ends, aka the really, really high points near 100 and the really low points near 0. So this is 0, this is 100 on the brightness scale, on the Luma scale. I'm going to negate all of the saturation. That way the blacks are really black and the bright whites are really white. And that just makes sure everything looks really good and you're not having any nasty dark blues in your blacks or any weird colors in your highlights and in your whites. Blacks are blacks, whites are whites. So you can't really see a lot, but it's just one of those little touches at the end, which I just love. And finishing, if you're getting really fancy, one of my favorite tools is LUT by Motion VFX. It's a free download that you can do. And one of my favorite ones is actually inside of their free ones. It's called Dramatic. And it just makes the skins really orange and it gives kind of a blue to the skies. Of course, you never want to do it all the way, just a little bit is fine. So before, after. So if you're feeling really fancy, we can go ahead and add letterbox to all of these clips. So click here, select 235, that's Cinescope. And I'm gonna go ahead and copy that effect and shift, drag, click all of them. We're gonna paste attributes. We're only going to add the letterbox, paste. And then we'll go through each of these clips and make sure the offset, if you go down, you can go up. So that looks about right. Just enough little headroom there. Sure. Perfect. This one, I will go all the way down. Perfect. Down's probably good right there, maybe a little up. And this one, we can go ahead and go right there. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the final video. So those were some of my tips and tricks for color correcting with drones and DSLRs. Please comment if you have any tips on your own. Please comment if you have any questions. We're a really small channel, so we'll probably answer every single question you guys have. Until next time, if you can dream it, we can drone it. Drone Mission.